I don't know.
A small heater that I have in my room, in case I get in there,
Yes.
but I haven't used that either. So they can hear, they can hear y'all. Just so y'all know.
How to beat the system.
Every Saturday.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't think about that. I have heaters, because I used to have, I still have heaters from Sandy.
That's the one I use. That's like,
Girl, I got like 10 heaters.
oh, I ain't got that.
And they're like, that's small, but they kick.
They do good.
Okay, all right. Everyone grab a seat. All right, so I would like to let everyone know that tonight's meeting is being recorded, so that if anything that needs to be for in the future can be said and done. So behave. All right, so it's all yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lakeisha Bowers, and I am the chair for the Education Department. I'm sorry, Community Board 13.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. I would like to introduce my co-chair. Hello. So tonight we have two amazing guest speakers. But before we go into that, I just want to send prayers to all that's hit by the storm in Florida. Hoping that, the storm passed and everyone is safe. So as we prepare for this amazing meeting tonight with some great information, our first guest speaker would be Ms. Black Taylor, Director of Outreach and Community Engagement from ACS, Administration Children's Services.
We just gotta let us say it again. Connected, so.
Is your co-host?
Okay, she's here.
Okay, you can speak.
Ms. Black Taylor?
Hello. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. Hello, everyone.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We're gonna turn the mic over to you.
Okay. Hi. I'm sorry. My coworker and I were having some technical difficulties. I think it's something with our agency network. Cause we couldn't get on. I think she's still having some issues. Cynthia, are you on?
She's on right now.
Okay, she's here. She's trying to log on too. Hold on. Well, good evening, everybody, while we wait for her to get on. Lakeisha, are we presenting first?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, Cynthia is on. Okay, so let me upload.
Share it without being on co-host.
Yes, you can. You have to be a co-host. You have to be a co-host to share.
Because it says the tools that you could.
No,
to
you
share. Okay, so we're gonna make her co-host. Okay.
I'm just trying to. I see you. Yes. I can hear you.
Make her co-host. Oh,
Okay.
Defendant here who was driving for you that day and that day only. You wanted him to return the van to the rental destination.
Okay, we can't hear you, Cynthia.
Well, while they're preparing, we're just gonna ask that if you have any questions, please raise your hand, or you can add your question into the chat. And if you can please stay muted during the time so that we can hear each other's questions and also the presentation. Thank you.
So let me just pull up the presentation.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Again, our apologies for the technical difficulties. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull up the PowerPoint. Can you all see the PowerPoint?
No.
Okay, now this is where we need some assistance because I don't know. I've never been a co-host before. I've always sent the PowerPoint and it was shared amongst the whole team. So if someone can walk me through that on how we can
Yes, ma'am. On the bottom of the screen, if you can, there's a little, it says share and a little green button with an
Yes.
arrow going up. You click on that. Then you click on the actual document you want to share or the PowerPoint presentation, and then it'll say share that, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. We're
Yes.
good.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, right, I just want to see. Okay. All right, great. So good evening, everyone. Again, our apologies for the technical difficulties. My name is Ivy Lisa Black Taylor, and I am the director of the outreach, I'm sorry, of the Family Assessment Program. And I am the director of outreach and community engagement. My colleague Cynthia Brabham, who is the deputy director of outreach and community engagement for the Family Assessment Program. So we are here today to present on our preventive services that we offer to families in all 5 boroughs. So we will begin. Cynthia, would you like to begin, or would you like me to?
You can begin.
Can begin? Okay.
And just know that we're gonna have a conversation. We may breeze through
Yeah.
these slides, but really it's a conversation. If you have any questions after, then you just let us know.
Okay. So we're just gonna use the PowerPoint just for to guide the conversation, but we're gonna talk, like Cynthia said, we're just gonna have a conversation. So the Family Assessment Program is a community-based program, and we have been around since 2002. We are the only PENS diversion program in the state. I'm sorry, in the 5 boroughs, where families, they cannot access a PENS unless it's through our program. Okay, so FAP is basically a home-based program where we provide services. Licensed social workers provide services to families who are at risk. Oh, okay. We provide home-based services to families who have children between the ages of 7 to 17 years of age. And as long as you have that one qualifying child, we will service children who are either younger or older. We have offices in all 5 boroughs, so families can connect to services in the borough in which we live. So I'm just going to show you all the services that we provide in helping families to address the needs. Cynthia, would you like to talk about the services that we
Well, let me
provide?
go through here. So we're a free voluntary prevention program. So if families are struggling with communication with their child, it could be drugs, mental health, family and child communication. Sometimes your children and you are just not getting along, and maybe you see your child hanging out with the wrong crowd. That's where we come in. It's a voluntary program. As Avalisa said, it is 7 through 17, and both both child and parent have to be on board. So if the parent was to come to us and say, my child is out of control, I need help, they will come into our office, they will see our licensed social workers, and then they'll interview the child separately, the parents separately, both together, and collectively decide what is needed in the home. As I said, this is a voluntary program because for some reason parents think they could just come and drop their kid off. I want to place my kid. That is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to service this family, and we have different levels of services. It depends on what the family's needs are, and it is voluntary. So in order for you to get a PENS, as Miss Avalisa said, you would have to go through our program. Before, back in the day, you can walk into court and say, I need a PENS, person in need of supervision. the judge is going to say, no, you're going to the family assessment program. You won't even see a judge. They'll just send you straight to the family assessment program, and then we're here for our services.
Thank you, Cynthia.
You're welcome.
Okay, so on the next slide, are you all familiar with what a PINS is? Because I know in ACS, we use a lot of acronyms.
Yes.
So just want to make sure that everyone in the room understands what a PINS is.
It's right there first.
No, now, but what is?
Explain it says it there in the book.
Okay. So a PINS is a person in need of supervision. So like my colleague said, back in the days before the family assessment program existed, children who were out of control in the community, whether they were running away from home, they was just acting out and the parents did not know what to do, they can petition a court for a person in needs of supervision petition. So basically the judge would mandate that the child be placed in a program where that was oversaw by family court, and they would be mandated to do certain, programs in the community and receive services. Like Cynthia said before, now parents can no longer just petition the court for PINS. We are the first arm of support that parents must go through in order to obtain a PINS. In 2002, when FAP was created, there were 822 PINS placements. Now, I want to say the numbers are less than 70, because these figures are from 2019 and now we're in 2024. So I believe that they're even lower. Maybe half of this 70. But since then, we have expanded to serve much more than PINS, and we're going to talk a little bit about the services that we provide in the next 2 slides. So this is basically the borough offices in which I talked about before. We're located in all 5 boroughs, and our offices are located either near or in the family court. So in the event, if families have to obtain a PINS, it's easier for the court-based staff to walk right to the judge and request the PINS right then and there. Okay? So that's the reason why a lot of our offices are near or in the courthouse. So Cynthia, you could talk about all the services that we provide to the families who are
In need of
these services through our program.
Right. So this is our service continuum. So as you see, there are 6, actually we have 7 service continuums. Yes.
Right.
1 is missing.
Yeah.
So it's by level. So family stabilization, mentoring, and advocacy, that is our lowest level of service. Functional family therapy, brief strategic family therapy, that's our middle level, and MST, systemic therapy, and juvenile justice respite is our highest therapy. Let me go to our highest. Juvenile justice respite services is basically a parent and a child needs a break. They are in crisis. They are, the child is placed into a therapeutic foster home and for 21 days, and they want to be, and the parent wants it to be. So it's not foster care. It's not anything that is forced. The child will get services in that foster home along with the parent on the same service continuum with the same service worker, whether it's a licensed, whether it's a therapist, social worker, whatever services are needed. It's just that they need that break from each other to get the services and to do the services together. So that is our respite. Usually you will have to go through one of these areas of programming before you get to respite. Only way you get to respite is if it is extremely where we need to separate them, but we're not trying to make this mandated as far as making it happen. This is something that they want to happen. The family stabilization, I'll go back to the beginning. The family stabilization program is short term. That can be up to 90 days 60 days, just as mentoring and advocacy program. And that's basically when a youth needs to be improving school or their performance or their is truancy going on. So it's low level behavior. We have a mentoring program, and that program basically is the child is entered into this program. They have a mentor to help them out. So say if parent says, I get home at 7 o'clock, when by the time the child gets home from 3 to 7, they're not doing anything, they're hanging in the street, they'll pair them with a mentor. And the mentor will be with the child during that time, take the child, expose the child to different things, find out the child's likes, needs, wants, and that's where the mentor and advocacy program comes in. Family functioning and brief strategic therapy, that program is basically a higher, riskier level. So it could be delinquent behavior, it could be oppositional behavior, and those programs can go up to 90 days to 6 months. So it depends on the level of behavior that the child is experiencing. And so that's those two middle. And then the last one is multi-systemic therapy. And that could be substance abuse, mental health, a higher level of need that the child, and I keep saying the child because the parent brings the child, but it really is parent and child. So a parent can't say, well, my child needs services and the parent not participate. This is a family therapy, family dynamic. If there's a father in the home, there's other children in the home, we will service the entire family with whatever the family needs are. And as Avalisa said, you have to be 7 to 17. So you have to have that age and qualifying one child, and then everybody else will be serviced in the home. So like I said, we're prevention. And we'll service the whole family. However, if we come into the home and see Johnny's brother sitting on a ledge of a window and mom's not doing anything, we can call in a case. Like, we'll try to correct the behavior, but at the same time, we are reported, we're mandated reporters also. So, but it's really about prevention, really about servicing this family so the other entities won't get involved or will not be involved, which is child protection, another part of our agency, NYPD, another part of our agency, another service agency, probation. So we try to keep the family away from that by coming to us as prevention. And, it's unfortunate because ACS is, people know ACS or New York City Children as child protection. That's the only division they know. ACS, it has 15 divisions. Child protection is one division. So we have a lot of preventive divisions that people do not know about. And with our Division of Youth and Family Justice, FAP is just under community-based alternatives. So that is a prevention area in our division to help youth. And a lot of divisions have prevention, but unfortunately, everybody only knows ACS is child protection. One division, knocking on you. In this one division, we have like 15 divisions. So that's our service continuum. And the last two, the respite can last up to, like I said, 21 days. MST can last up to 6 months. So those last three, well, BSFT and MST can be up to 6 months, but you can start a family stabilization and feel like you need more help, and they'll upgrade you to one of the other ones. And if our services do not work at all, that's when our licensed social workers will speak with the family, write up the petition, and go to court with the judge saying this family needs more services. Again, parent would be involved in that. And sometimes if the parent wants to do all the services and the child doesn't, then we'll support the parent in that also.
Any questions so far? Okay.
Yes, sir. My question is,
A little louder.
is there,
is there any way possible that we could get a copy of the PowerPoint? And I would like to know if this is something that they share with the schools as well.
Yes, the schools know about it. We just had a huge FAP resource fair on Friday at the DCAS building, 1 Center Street, and the whole world was invited. But we are inside the schools. DOE, we go to the schools to let them know about our program. DOE is our highest referral source, and NYPD, but DOE is our highest referral source.
And one of the things, our new slogan for our program is putting FAP on the map. Because like Cynthia said earlier, so many, people, agencies, they only know ACS for removing children, doing and conducting investigations. And we do so much more than that. So we want to ensure that the schools are, like Cynthia said, our number one referral sources. So we want to make sure that every entity, the schools, NYPD, after school programs, community-based programs, we want them to know that we exist, because every case does not warrant a call to the SCR. You can give parents information where they can, because sometimes parents are scared to connect, because when they hear ACS, they think about the first thing they're going to do is take my child away.
Right.
And we're not in that business anymore. We have a new leadership, a new commissioner, and he is big on keeping families together through preventive programming, because that's his background.
Right.
So a lot of our funding is pushed towards prevention, because we want to keep families together. We know the damage that is done when families are separated, kids are taken out the home. There's even more trauma just laid on the trauma that they already are experiencing. So we don't want to continue that cycle. We want to try to do better than what we've done in the past. So, we fund all of our community-based partners to do the work in the communities where the families live. And before we end, I would love to share our video of our program so you can hear the first-hand account from the families themselves, okay?
I believe to share the 5 boroughs, the contact information
Okay.
for 5 boroughs, so they can at least take a picture of it and know.
Yes. Okay. So for the Bronx Borough Director, she is no longer in that role. She's now the Executive Director over the Family Assessment Program. So the Bronx now is Mr. Craig Walsh, and Brooklyn at the moment is vacant. But all the other borough directors, the Manhattan Borough Director and the Queens Borough Director, remains the same.
And they cover Brooklyn also.
Yeah.
So that's all our leadership as far as each borough director in each borough.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so give me 1 second. And I'm going to share the video.
Oh, no. No.
We do have a question while you're preparing the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's just a basic question. How long has this program been in existence?
Say it again.
Excuse me?
What is it, 2002?
Oh, I didn't hear.
How long has this program been in existence?
So 2002. However, this program was with Child Protection, which is.
And then the second part of my question is, what is the percentage of District 21 participants?
Did you hear that, or you want me to repeat it?
We don't have the percentage of District 21 participants, but I was saying that at first this program was with Child Protection, and they if this is a prevention program, it should not be with Child Protection. So that's why it's in a totally separate division. As far as percentages of districts, we don't have that information on us.
Thank you, ladies.
What information do you keep then with regards to the percentage of people you're helping throughout the boroughs? So I know it's a prevention program. I'm a teacher, so I know some of this from the workers coming into the school, asking questions. We're getting the kids attendance and stuff like that in their records. But how do you keep records that we want to find out, let's say for argument's sake, how many young people you're servicing in South Brooklyn or particular school districts? Do you keep any of those type of records?
So our leadership would keep those,
Yes.
that information. And we do have a program director also, but our leadership, so you see the leadership central office, Mr. Tuma, Ms. Kavanaugh, Ms. Wellman, they would keep that information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, we're a part of the outreach team. So our role, we didn't really identify our roles. Our role is to promote the program in the community. So what we do, we attend events, we do presentations, we table in the community, we go to different sectors and promote the program, and then bring those referrals. I'm sorry, pass that information on to the borough offices. So we're our own separate unit, but we're only outreach. So the numbers of the participants in the programs, that's primarily the borough offices, because that's where the families go to get the services. We don't have direct contact with the families. The only thing we do is we just share the information with the families. The families then in turn go to the borough offices and receive the service. And the borough offices don't supply the services. They're referred to our community-based partners that we fund to provide the services for us.
And we do have, I know she didn't mean it like this, but we do have connections with the families, like when we meet them, like when we do events all over. It's 2 of us servicing all 5 boroughs. So we can be at an event and a family comes up to us, and then we'll give them that information. We'll explain that information. And if they're in dire need right there, we will connect them with the borough office right there, the borough director, and make a phone call, an appointment, and have them go in at that moment or whenever the family is available.
Any other questions? Cheryl Liverditis, sorry if I mispronounced your name.
That's okay. Cheryl Livididis. Hi, I was wondering who to contact to set up maybe a presentation at my school, since the Brooklyn Borough Director is not, it's vacant right now.
You will contact myself or Avalisa Black Taylor. So we can definitely get your information and set up a presentation for you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry I came in late, but where is your information? Is it on this slide?
No, our information is not on this slide. Just the leadership is.
Yeah, we can put our information in the chat.
Yeah.
At the conclusion of the presentation. I am trying to, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing our screen so I can share the video.
So Avalisa, I'm gonna put this in the chat while you do the video.
Okay, good. Put our contact information in the chat. And I am going to. Okay.
And everyone, I'm just going to be very transparent with you. I'm gonna put Avalisa's information in the chat because Friday is my last day with this program. I have a promotion. So
I know.
I'm going on to a new division. And so I'm just gonna put, it would not mean anything for me to put anything in the chat because I'm leaving the program. So I'll put Avalisa's information in here.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, shoot. I messed up. Wait a minute.
Okay, can everybody see the video?
Yeah.
Does everybody see New York City Children? Okay, good. Okay.
That was created to assist families to bridge the gap with teens and their parents.
Turned it up.
What we're here for is really making someone feel like they are important enough to ask for help and to receive help. When families come to the FAP office, they really get an opportunity to put in their own words how they define what their concerns are. At that point, the child is also able to define why they're here and what they would want to happen after coming to our office.
Well, I love my son, but he's starting to spiral out of control. And I came in today so that I could get the proper help that I feel he needs.
Parents are coming in with feelings of sorrow or hopelessness. I think parents feel sometimes scared of what is going to happen if I admit that all of these issues are going on, and is anyone going to blame me? A lot of times I try to help parents to see, hey, you are the one who recognized that you needed help, and you were the one who came in on your own. We commend you for coming in to ask for help.
I did like get into drugs and stuff like that, and like I kind of hid it from them.
De la escuela me llamaban mucho complaint, muchos pleitos, llegaba de mal humor, gritando.
Y siempre amenazaba con que me voy a ir de la casa y no me van a volver a ver. Y si algo me pasa, ustedes son los culpables. Y ella se envolvía en conflictos, en peleas, pero ella me lo contaba a mí. Y si vuelvo a ver a esa muchacha, le voy a dar con todo. Yo le decía, no, eso te va a perjudicar. I don't care.
I was like, I'm 16. I don't need my parents. Like, I'm grown. And like, you lived in a different country, so you don't even know what's life here.
So when the family is first referred to us, we go to the home, and it's very important for us to meet everybody who lives in the home, because we're going to learn how these issues affect everybody in the home.
Nosotros expectábamos que llegara una señora con un montón de reglas y diciendo esto, haz esto, el otro.
The services are completely 100% voluntary. They are also very much part of the process in creating a treatment plan, because everything is based on the family's goals, not the therapist's goals. You know, a big belief that we have in family therapy is that they are capable of truly working through those issues together, and that it's not about anybody having any blame. It's about how can everybody contribute to reaching the goal that they all want.
Al principio era muy duro, muy difícil. Muchas veces Lorraine no quería, se trancaba en la habitación.
I was in shock and I was angry because I didn't want a random person telling me like what you're doing wrong in life. But it wasn't nothing like that. It was different. Like I related to her.
Lorraine pudo como soltar muchas cosas. Así la terapista la pudo ayudar mejor. Sabía qué realmente era lo que pasaba con Lorraine.
And she like made me think real hard about everything that I did.
And I think the reason why kids switch from being skeptical to engage is because we treat them very differently from what they're used to. So maybe when they communicate it with adults, all adults are telling them is, look at all the stuff that you're doing wrong. Whereas we're coming from a place where, you know what, we understand you. And I think kids feel heard for the first time by this adult.
I slowly changed, and then it was just like I was showing my mom like you can trust me again. Like I am your daughter. Like I'm not that person that I was.
Cuando uno se sienta que la situación no tiene solución, buscar ayuda. Porque a veces las consecuencias de no pedir ayuda son bastante caras.
As a mentor, we develop a bond of trust, and we get the children to open up and talk to us.
He encouraged me to do better because there's sometimes I don't have no energy, no effort. He always told me these words:
keep your head up. Don't let nobody bring you down, right? You got this. Keep going. Since coming into the program, Trayvon and his mother's communication and relationship has grown a lot. I was being really disrespectful to my mom. I was not listening to her. But what had to be done was mom had to remember what it was like being a teenager, and Trayvon had to grasp somewhat of an understanding of what it's like being a single parent and having to take care of two children and work. So he said, just take a step back, see what your mom does from day-to-day basis, and like you understand like the stress she goes through by having to take two kids by herself, managing the household, pay bills, and all that. Just understand what she's going through and support her. We take them on different trips. We talk to them. All of them don't open up right away. Some of them might open up a month, some maybe 3 weeks, some sooner. Gave me like a father and son vibe. And that was like kind of cool. I always let them know that, listen, we're not parole officers, we're not probation officers, we're not the police department. We're a friend to you and your family, and we want the best for you, but we want you to want the best for yourself. You tell me your story. That's what I want to hear. What's going on? And for a lot of them, that's the first time they've ever heard that. We give them a voice. It's like, it cares. And I'm like, that's different. So it made me feel happy. I learned a lot of positive things from Celeste. I learned how to like communicate better instead of just like letting my emotions talk to a person. Instead of like taking my anger on people.
We give them access to pro-social activities, activities targeted for the adolescent in an environment that's safe, that's supervised by an adult. The parent knows their child is doing something that's healthy and fun outside of school.
Okay.
Parents will say, well, my friend had the pins and, you know, everything was great
Still
with
getting
their child
cold.
after that. Why can't
Still
I
getting
have it?
concerned. What's the
Or
matter?
my teacher
Okay,
told me to come here to get the pins, or the police said, go get a pins. But they never really asked the police officer or the teacher, you know, sort of what does that really mean?
So if parents decide to take on the pins route, there's a lot of major downsides that families have to take into consideration. So you're basically putting your life out there very publicly in front of the judge. When it gets to the point where a judge, let's say, determines, let's remove the child, there's a lot of control that's going to be taken away from the parent. You don't get to choose if the child goes into foster care or which family in foster care they're going to be taken to. And in addition, during that period of time that they're not in the home, there's nothing being worked on together as a family. So if one of the main issues that they've had is trust and communication, removal takes that opportunity away from the parents and the child.
The judges want to divert families from the pins and court process because the idea is that families are healthier if parents and children stay together. We have the respite services where children and parent have some time away from each other while there's goals being set and there's a plan for them to then return to the parents' care within 21 days. And when they return, the idea is that everyone's on the same page, everyone is ready to accept services like therapy.
I've definitely seen a lot of families change, grow, and I've seen a lot of progress.
But it's a journey. And I enjoy taking that journey with them and assisting them in making better decisions.
I feel good in being able to reassure families that they're not at their end of their rope, that tomorrow is going to be another day, and there's people that's there to be able to help you to do it. And if I can be the person to deliver that message to someone, that could be their best day for the week. When you put your child or like your teenager or whoever in the program, they're gonna change, trust me. Everybody has that one soft spot and they know they're gonna change if they want it better for themselves.
he aprendido a escuchar más a mis hijos, hacerlos sentir a ellos que somos una familia.
Okay, so that is our conclusion of our presentation. And if you have any more questions, we would, love to answer.
And just so you know, our new, they had de Blasio on there. We know that's not our man anymore. And we also have another commissioner, but our new commissioner is Just Dan Hauser, and he is really, really, really about prevention, even changing the thought process of child protection. His thing is service this family until we can't service them anymore. We're safe for children, not to cause trauma, not to bring them to court. And it's to the point now where the courts are even saying to ACS, service this family. As long as these children are not in immediate danger, service this family before we separate them. So, I just wanted to add that. And the young man that you saw in the presentation, he was at our resource fair on Friday, and he spoke, and he said that he was so against the services, and now you see he's speaking for us, and he loves his mentor, and he's making great progress.
I have a couple of questions. Yeah, I just want to know, this program sounds wonderful. It's seemed like it's taking a lot of the load off of ACS and other services, like you said before. How many, does the program have enough social workers? Are you needing more help? And is the funding secure for the future of this program?
This program has been around since 2002, as Ms. Ivelisa said. So there is funding because it's about preventive services also. And each borough has about 6 or 7, except for Staten Island, therapists, licensed social workers, where the family comes in and speaks to them regarding services and what is needed, and they do the assessment with the families.
And also, we just expanded our services to include a Fair Futures component where the youth are connected to a mentor, and that youth work, like Cynthia just described at our resource fair, that mentor and that youth works together. And their coach at school, at home. It's like they receive wraparound services. And that's a continuum after they completed, or in combination of the services that we provide, that Cynthia described earlier.
And that program goes up to, it surpasses 17, the 24.
24, yeah.
Because we realized we needed a program that goes past 17 and a half. So
Oh,
now we still
Yeah.
need services. That program extends to 24 years old. You can't come in, I don't think it's a 23-year-old. You have to come in early and realize, okay, this family needs more services. So then that we have this Fair Future program.
Where do your mentors come from?
Excuse me?
Where do the mentors come from? Do you have enough, or is it always a stretch to get mentors?
So good. Our what we fund, like I said earlier, we fund our community-based partners. So they the ones that hire their social workers, their therapists, their mentors through that particular program. So we just oversee to make sure that the program is doing what it needs to do, and we troubleshoot and we oversee, what issues or what things that we can provide where the services that for the families will be effective.
And we also have a program director for the family assessment program, which is Jamal Jenkins.
Mhm.
So he's the one that oversees all the programs, but the initial intake, the initial assessment, the initial everything is our therapists, our licensed social workers in our offices in all 5 boroughs.
Question, Keisha?
Want to go first?
I'm sorry, it's a lot of background noise and we can't really hear the questions. So if you can be kind to mute your phones.
Back here had a question.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I have a question. Since you said your program goes to like age 24, is there any type of funding that would help someone who wants to go to college but does not have the means or the funds to attend college?
So that's not the family assessment program. That is, if you go on acs.gov or New York City Children, you can get that information off the ACS website. That's a totally different division.
Yeah.
And yes, they do have that. They do have, but that we can't do that. That's a totally different division.
Yes, and if necessary, if that's something, if the family is already participating with the services, then we will make that referral.
Make that referral.
But families just can't come in wanting that. It has to be a higher level of care that the whole family needs. We're not just servicing the requirement is for the one child. But if there are other needs of the families, we service the family needs as well. But our program is mostly centered towards at-risk youth.
What is the length of time that a family is allowed to participate in the program?
It's completely up to them.
Yeah.
If they want to stay with like I said, like we said, it's volunteer. So families can stop the program whenever they choose. But the maximum time of our program on average is about 4 to 6 months.
And
Families don't have to stay the whole time.
Right. And I was saying sometimes they may start at a lower level of programming and need higher level. So it's not coming and then we'll kick you out. No, we're trying to stay with you until you feel like you don't need our services anymore. Yeah.
I asked that question because, this seems to me that it's a need for a lot of families. And the reason I asked that question is if someone's allowed to be in the program for 2 to 3 months, so that way another family in need can, be able to receive the same assistance. I was just curious as to the length of time. And I don't know if I asked this question, and I'm not gonna ask anymore, the amount of participants. I did ask a percentage, but do you have the amount of participants of families that have participated in the program citywide?
No, we don't have those statistics on us.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Our program does, but not us.
Okay,
right.
thank you.
And also, just so you know that the two, if we're saying 2 to 3 months, when we say BSFT or MST, they are different program modules where we may have 3 people that are BSFT, 3 agencies that are FFT, 3 agencies that are MST. So it's not just one program doing MST.
Right.
Thank you.
And remember, every borough, this is of course Brooklyn, we're talking about Brooklyn, but every borough has different needs. So you may have a family that may start in Brooklyn, but they may move to Manhattan. So Brooklyn services may look a little different than what Manhattan services may look like, because each borough has their own, and that's one of the lovely things about our program. Our program is not cookie cutter. Our program meets the needs of families where they are. So some of our highest catchment areas are in Brooklyn and the Bronx, with Staten Island being one of our lowest. But like we said, it all depends on what the needs of that particular borough or that catchment area. I see Sheila, I'm sorry. I see you. I saw you had a question. How are you? That's my TA president, everybody. We can't hear you, Sheila.
Oh, she's on.
Mhm. You're still muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It was a beautiful, wonderful presentation. And
Thank
I'm
you.
very elated to know that ACS has this entity within it. Because when I hear ACS, first thing I think of them is breaking, the families apart, and the government taking over. So I think that this program, I was very delighted. I listened to everything instantly, and I would love for you to come to Dwyer. Our next meeting is in October. I believe it's the 18th or the 19th. If not, possibly the month after, to make this presentation. Lakeisha, when she told me that you were coming, I didn't recognize the name.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize it. Yeah. So anyway, kudos to this program, and there's a lot of people that need it. But my question to you is, when you have a single mother with a child that is younger than 7, and the single mother is very belligerent to the child, cursing them out, you said the ages are from 7 to 17. Is there any exceptions, whereas maybe you would like hail this person and try to talk to them and bring them into some type of therapy, that they might be stressed out, because they take care of the child, but the badgering and the cursing, I just cringe, when I hear it, and I want to say something, but people nowadays mind your business. They don't want you in your business. And, do you all would you entertain that?
Well, not our program, because the child is too young. How old is the child, by the way?
She's 5.
5. Yeah, that's
Not
too
even
young.
that, the mother would need to want the service.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if that sounds like,
But it seems to me the mother is the one that needs the therapy.
Right.
Hello?
And
The child ain't cursing her
oftentimes
out.
that's exactly what it
Right.
is. The parent will come in and saying, "Oh, it's my child is acting out, my child is doing this." But the parent, when you peel back the layers, when we do the intake and the assessment, it's not only the child. So that's the lovely thing about our program. But to answer your question, I just found out that there is a Coney Island Family Enrichment Center. So we have enrichment centers all throughout the boroughs. I will
Where's
send
it
you that list.
located?
I just got the flyer from the community center the other day. And I was so shocked because I've been advocating for that since I started this program. So I'm so happy to see that that's being birthed. I don't know exactly where, but that's one place. We also have other community partners. Like I said, we have a whole preventive division that work with families like that. So she can always call our office and we can refer her to that particular program. But our program, unfortunately, will not service her family because the child is
young.
She would have to come. So if she came and felt that she needed services, then they probably have something to give her. But if she's not coming and you just see this as this is her, then yeah. And I believe so you probably can get the information.
Definitely.
Okay, we'll talk. Thank you.
We have one more question. We're gonna have to cut this session because we have another host, a presenter that's coming on, so we want to give everybody enough time. So we have one.
Well, I did my question just to you, the chair, that maybe we can set up a meeting with the leadership to get the statistics like Lucy's been asking about, so we can see how it's affecting Brooklyn. So maybe that's something we can do, and then we can talk to the leadership, because they're doing a great job in promoting the program, but we want to know what the meat and potatoes are.
Yes,
how
absolutely.
And everything else like that, so.
District.
Yeah,
Okay.
district, so I think that's fair enough.
My information, our information is in the chat. So we will connect you, like Cynthia said, our program director, Mr. Jamal Jenkins, he will be able to provide you with the statistics. Because like I said, he oversees all the programs, everyone.
So I want to say thank you to Cynthia. We wishing you all the best in your next role.
Thank you.
Evelisa, you know, you have my heart always.
Thank
So I
you.
want to thank you. Evelisa's always in Coney Island at many events tabling with this information. So I think that this is great information for the community as well as the school and parents. I definitely want to second the emotion of when Cynthia mentioned about the new commissioner. I had several conversations with him and he's absolutely amazing. You can tell his heart is pure and he's dedicated to the change, and not the change of the ACS and the investigation and removing the kids, but how can we better the families as a whole? So I want to say thank you again. We will share your slides. Y'all have the contact information. So thank you again for coming tonight.
Welcome, and I also forward you the
Thank you.
brochures, Lakeisha, so they can also have an overview, and they can also distribute these to the families that you come into contact with. So I sent
And our
them also
brochures
to
in 8
Lakeisha.
languages also. 8
Right.
languages. Yes.
So if you need additional languages, just let me know and I could forward them to her.
Okay. Perfect.
And if anybody else would like to request a presentation, my contact information is in the chat. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah.
Everyone have a beautiful evening.
You do the same.
Blessings to you all.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we're gonna go on to our second guest speaker, and that is our Deputy Superintendent, excuse me, for District 21, Ms. Lynch Reyes.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Ms. Taylor and Miss, is it Brabham? I used to be the principal of Sethlow, and I've used your assistance many, many times.
Oh, nice. Nice. Happy to hear that.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. So hi, everyone. I'm Erin Lynch Reyes. I'm the Deputy Superintendent. I'm here representing Superintendent Amola tonight. And she asked me to be here to sort of give all of you a state of the district address to tell you what our foci are for the year, you know, what should be in store for students and families from a district perspective from the DOE, and then to answer any questions that you may have. So I do not have slides. I'm just going to talk to you about these things and then you can ask me questions. Full transparency. I have a 2 and a 4-year-old, so you can hear them. Hi, baby. Okay. All right. And yeah, and I was at work all day, so they're used to my undivided attention right now, but we're going to work with it. So each year we have a district, each year we have a district comprehensive education plan, which lays out the goals of our district. A lot of work from our team goes into analyzing data, taking a look at how individual schools are doing, how specific subgroups of students are doing, and based on and we look at our state test scores. We use a diagnostic screener called iReady, and another screener called Acadience to see how students are doing on their current grade level for ELA and math. And based on that, we develop district goals. And then those district goals trickle down to the schools. And the district now, under our new administration, has a very large team of people who are responsible for supporting the schools to reach the goals. And within our action plans, we have really specific things that we need schools to do to ensure that students are getting what they need. And in turn, the districts can meet our goals. So we have 2 academic goals. One is that all students, 100% of students across the district, are reading on grade level by the end of the school year, June 2025. And the second is that all students reach their math stretch goals by the end of the school year, which would be June 2025. And stretch goals, we use something called iReady, which is a diagnostic tool that all students in our district take in math, and students from grades 3 to 8 take in ELA.
Joe, you want ice cream?
And so those, all of our students take these diagnostic assessments, and the diagnostic assessment, the iReady assessments create goals for students. They create progress goals, and then they create stretch goals. And so for students that are more than 2 grade levels below, those stretch goals is more than significant progress to close the gap for students. And that is essentially our goal. And I'm going to talk about how we do that. And I'm going to talk about something called the science of reading as well. So those are our math and our ELA goals. Many of you know that we're a phase 1 district for rolling out the new citywide curriculums. So last school year, the chancellor and the mayor decided that every district was to pick from 3 different universal curriculums to embark upon New York City Reads. And New York City Reads is the initiative and the program across the city to ensure that all students are reading on grade level, which is essentially what our goal was. So we were a phase 1 district, which means that we rolled out the curriculum last year. So we had 1 whole year. We chose HMHs into reading because it is a curriculum that aligns with the science of reading. And so the science of reading is a different holistic approach to teaching reading, which HMH does. And in addition to having a cohesive curriculum like HMH, we also have schools choosing from one of 3 nationally recognized foundational skills programs. So the foundational skills are the phonics, the phonemic awareness, the things that our youngest learners in K-2 need to learn how to read. And so what we do as a district is in both math and ELA, we use iReady and Acadience as diagnostic screeners to determine where students are in relation to their current grade level. And for all students that are below grade level at all, whether it's a few months, a year, or more than 1 or 2 years, for all students that are below grade level, they receive across the district in math and ELA, tier 2 or tier 3 interventions. And what the science of reading and what can also be applied to math is the methodology or the philosophy that in order to catch students up, right? And we are typically a district that does well. However, our Coney Island schools do not. And so what our philosophy is that in order to close the gap for students, all students, specifically our Coney Island schools, which we are really giving an abundance of support this year so they can catch up with their peer schools that are not Coney Island based, is that students must have robust tier 1 instruction. And what tier 1 instruction is core instruction, right? On grade level, ELA, literacy, and math instruction tailored to meet individual students' needs. In addition to that, right, that on grade level, and sometimes people say, well, my kid is 2 grade levels below. How can my kid do on grade level work if they're 2 grade levels below? If we don't give students equal doses of on grade level work and tier 2 and tier 3 interventions, and I'll explain the difference in a minute, to close their gap, then all we're doing is widening the gap for students. There has to be an equal balance of that robust on grade level instruction still happening and that individualized support for students to meet them where they are in the specific areas where they have deficits to close the gap. That makes sense to everybody so far?
Yeah.
So where we are in this process right now is that all of our schools have given the diagnostic screeners. Diagnostic screeners give us some information. What are the subcategories that students are have deficits? Phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency, comprehension, number sense. And then based on that, students are given secondary screeners, right? Because I could have a deficiency in phonics, as can Randy, and my deficiency might be vowel sounds and hers might be consonant blends. You can't give the same intervention as an overall phonics because phonics encompasses so many things. And so our approach as a district is granular, student by student, item by item, giving the intervention to close the gap for kids so that they can be on grade level by the end of the school year. So where we are in this process right now is that all students are receiving secondary screeners to identify specifically what within those subcategories do students need reteaching and support. And then schools are creating tier 2 and tier 3 intervention groups. Tier 2 groups, the difference between tier 2 and tier 3 groups is the size of the group and how many times a week they meet. That's the only difference. So kids who are 1 year below grade level or slightly below grade level might be in a tier 2 group where there may be 7 to 10 kids in the group that have the same needs. They're using a different program. They're using a research-based program that's specific to the need. So if it's phonics, They might be using something like Wilson or Spire. So they're using specific research-based programs to give students what they need, and their progress monitoring, which means that they're going in to reassess students with quick 1 to 2 minute assessments to see if students are mastering the skills that they need. And so this process, it will take place district-wide in math and ELA in these small groups. Our most critical students will be in smaller groups, sometimes 1-to-1, sometimes 3-to-1, sometimes 5-to-1, meeting more frequently. And this will happen until the second diagnostic screener, which is in, I want to say January, where we'll go through this process again to see where students are. And groups are fluid. So as students master things, they're removed from the group if they don't need it anymore. There are students that sometimes may need 4 or 5 different things. The groups are fluid. So when students master one thing, they move into the next group of need. And the schools are in the process of really doing this well. We started this last year. This year, we expanded it to math. Last year was only literacy. And we saw some really great results in progress across the district. So those are our 2 academic initiatives right now in math and in ELA. We are also ensuring that schools, 100% of schools are doing parent engagement around this stuff, right? New York City Reads, New York City Solves. We want every parent in every school building to know what those things are, right? What does it mean that my kid is sitting in a classroom that's now aligned to the science of reading? What is HMH and interreading? How can I help support my child at home? So there is going to be a lot of family workshops that we're rolling out. We did some last year that were very successful. This year, we're requiring each and every school to do this with their parents. Those are the 2 academic pieces. One of our other goals is to reduce bias incidents that are happening in school buildings. And the way we're tackling that as a district is ensuring that every one of our schools has a robust preventative social emotional learning curriculum that they're using daily with students, and that we are embracing our diversity as a strength and inclusivity as a daily routine. Another goal of the district is to provide financial literacy instruction to all students K-8. We really do feel like, and that is going to extend to families. We are asking 100% of schools to do some sort of financial literacy family engagement. We're hoping they do that, especially in the middle schools with kids. But every school is required to adopt a financial literacy program K-8 and really to engage students from the very beginning, from the beginning stages of what it means to be financially literate. We want all of our District 21 students to graduate reading on grade level, ready for high school, middle school, college, and ensuring that they can be, robust individuals that are financially literate and can function on their own in society once they graduate the DOE as high school graduates. We are hoping to increase our participation in New York City Rise, which is the Save for College program eligible for K-2 students. And we're doing a lot of family engagement in the district around that. As I mentioned earlier, 100% of our schools will have parent involvement and engagement activities around New York City Reads, New York City Solves, and the financial literacy piece. And we are also asking for 100% of our schools to take a look at what they do as far as career exploration goes and to reinvent it, to do something different, not just the career fair where you invite some doctors and lawyers to speak to kids, but really doing some in-depth work with students around interest areas and giving them opportunities to be exposed to several different careers throughout the school year, not just on one day or one occasion. So that not only are we equipping them with the math and literacy skills that they need, but that we're making sure that they understand that they can find something that they have a passion for, and that can become a career path, whether it's a college-bound career path or a CTE career path. We want to make sure that from our earliest learners in our elementary schools, that our schools are providing opportunities for career exploration and for families to get involved in these activities as well. So all of our schools will be hosting different fairs and partnerships with families around those things. It is really important to us as a district that our students stay with us. Our K-5 students matriculate to our middle schools and our middle schools to our high schools. So our superintendent is working with our high school superintendent, Superintendent Prayer, to create partnerships between our middle schools and our high schools to ensure that our students want to go to the programs that exist in our district and that we're doing a good job of exposing our middle school students to what our district has to offer. And we just had our middle school fair at David A. Booty, and we have next month, or at the end of this month, we have our upcoming high school fair that we're hosting at John Dewey High School. So that is where we are as a district. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has around any of those things, or talk a little bit more about New York City Reads if you're interested.
Okay, all right. I like your presentation, Deputy Superintendent. The thing that caught my eye, I'm a teacher in the high school. You said that the Coney Island schools are not doing well. Do we know the reasons for that? Is it about language acquisition? Is it about like ESL and stuff like that? What is the disconnect between the Coney Island schools opposed to the rest of the district that you said is doing well? That's I was hoping you would do a little bit more with it.
So I have some theories. So now our Coney Island schools, I didn't say they weren't doing well. They're not doing as well as our Coney Island schools are doing well, and they are making steady progress. 188 specifically, which I'm super happy about. However, the proficiency levels on Coney Island are much lower than the proficiency levels in the other parts of our district that are in Brighton Beach, Gravesend, Bensonhurst. Do I have some theories around why? I do. I honestly think that our schools in Coney Island are extremely hard to staff. The transportation into the deeper schools, 188, 288, and 329 become a factor. I think that parking is also a real situation with the retention of staff on Coney Island. I think that our current, I definitely think that we have a different influx since some of our Coney Island schools have taken in some of the Floyd Bennett field. We definitely have an ENL population in some of our schools that's greater than we've seen before, but we're on top of it. We onboarded new ENL teachers in the schools that were affected by that, 288, 188. And we really are giving the support that was lacking in the past, right? So it was just only the last couple of years that the DOE support was given at the district level. And so this is my 4th year, over the last 3 years, it has been the priority of Superintendent Zamola to give all our support to the Coney Island schools. And we do, and we are. And we can do that in a more robust way now that our staff has been expanded by the chancellor and the mayor. We used to be 4 people, now we're 30 people. And that happened in 2 years. So I do think that we have the right leaders in the right places and the supports that Coney Island schools need at this point. Do I think Coney Island schools can use more? 100%. I think they can use more funding for after-school programs. I think they can use more funding for more family partnerships and, to engage, families in a different way. And those are all things that are a work in progress. But I was very pleased with the progress toward proficiency from last year on Coney Island. And I definitely think unifying with the HMH curriculum is helping and making sure our teachers are properly trained. And that's the key thing that's come. It was so hard to support schools before, and this is my opinion, because every school had the ability to choose what they were using. They can choose their own ELA curriculum. They can choose their own foundational skills. They can choose their own. And now that we know all schools are using the same curriculum in HMH and they have to choose from 3 different ones in the foundational skills, we have people on our staff that are experts, that are skilled in these things. And now we're able to deploy these people to support teams of teachers. And we don't have to depend on a borough office and wait online for them to dispatch somebody. I do think we still need to advocate with some strength behind funneling in more money to the Coney Island schools, because they do have larger numbers of students that require tier 2 and tier 3, and we're not getting funding for them to hire more teachers to do it. They're getting creative with how they're doing it. And we were given 3 interventionalists on staff, and we deployed those 3 people to our Coney Island schools. So we're trying to help But they need bodies, if you want my honest opinion. And, you know, and that's where we are.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my question is, like, you spoke about District 21, you spoke about the general education, but you didn't mention anything about the special ed classes in District 21, especially 12 to 1-to-1. Or what are the improvements and what are the plans for those classes, and how come there's no paraprofessionals in District 21, especially the school right next to my house, PS 209, always short of paraprofessionals. I'm also
The whole city.
and this is the reason I have to do my son homeschooling, because the only thing, well, I don't know completely what's the, like, you know, how they evaluate the child or how they push me to put my son to District 75. Well, I was totally with the disagreement. I don't believe that he belongs there. I think he should have been given the opportunity in 12 to 1-to-1 class, or there should be an integrated classroom setting. I'm also advocating at this point for 30 families with the special ed. All the children are on autism spectrum. I'm helping the families with OPWD. I'm helping the families with ABA, OT, PT, speech, home-based, all the services. But none of the parents, unfortunately, have that information from the school. So how we can improve that?
Mm-hmm. So that's a great question. And I'm sorry that I did not mention our special education, our MLL populations, talked about it a little bit. What I will say is that, and this is something that I think has been a long time coming, everything that I just talked about are services that all students are getting, right? We are looking at every single student, students with IEPs, MLLs, and we're looking at the big picture. Every single student has the ability to be successful on their current grade level, right? It's my belief, and I know the superintendent shares this belief with me, that every student should have an individualized education plan because everyone learns differently and everyone has different needs. HMH specifically, which is the new program that we're using for ELA, has a lot of robust resources specifically for our 12-1-1 students. And a lot of times in our classes, our 12-1-1s are bridge classes, which means that there's more than one grade in the classroom. Yeah. And so we have done extensive training with our 12-1-1 teachers and the paraprofessionals in the room, and I will address the paraprofessional shortage momentarily, to ensure that we're not just teaching to the middle, right? Because if you're a teacher and you have a 6-7, or sometimes you have like a K-1-2 bridge, you have 3 grades in your class at one time. And that's the reality of the funding and what principals have to do in order to service kids. It is impossible for that teacher to split them into 3. HMH has some really great resources, things called like the tabletop lessons that enable teachers to plan essentially 3 different grade level lessons to ensure that every grade in that class is getting their grade levels instruction. So we worked with all of our 12-1-1 teachers last year and are continuing this year to train them in ways and to train the paraprofessionals that are in the classrooms in the programs. So whatever intervention programs we're using, HMH, paraprofessionals are included in all the training, because in order for the teacher to be able to successfully teach to all 3 grades, the teacher's going to have to utilize all the adults in the room to support the instruction. And so we are 100% addressing, and our special education students last year on our state exam made nice steady gains. And we are really working on our 12-1-1 specifically. And this year we're shifting our focus to math. As far as the para shortage goes, there is a para shortage across the city. And I know that our principals, you know, we utilize something called Subcentral, where if we don't have paras, the window just opened to nominate new substitute paras. So right now, principals were each given a certain number based on the need of the school to nominate new sub-para professionals to try and fill these vacancies. The DOE does have avenues for schools to be able to file emergency non-response when we are posting these vacancies in Subcentral and nobody is responding. And we are prioritizing, trying to get, I will say that as far as teachers go, we are fully staffed across the district, which has not been the case in years past. So we're in a good place teacher-wise. We know we have some work to do paraprofessional-wise, but I do think it's going to improve now that the sub nominations have opened. We have candidates that we're nominating, we're getting them processed, and we will do everything we can to ensure that there's a paraprofessional for every student in every class that requires it.
Yeah, I'll be quick because I have, I think it's more, I guess it's a comment and I guess information from the committee. And when you did your capital expenses last month, was it indicated in there for the, to allocate funding for more after-school programs in our district? And if it was not, I think that's something you should consider. And then my second one is, I guess build a school within our district. I don't know if that was in there as, okay, was so, may I ask what type of school was it, an elementary or junior?
And we said the tech school too, and a tech school if possible,
I
yeah.
appreciate that. I just, because what she just clicked that in my head, I was just wondering, I didn't intend to be. But thank you very much. Glad to hear
Sure,
that.
I can comment on the new school that's coming. I honestly am not 100% sure what was put in that, in the spending. But I will say that we did have schools that lost after school funding with the whatever wasn't refunded, and there was a bunch of after school programs that were cut. I know that money was just funneled into those principals' Galaxy budgets, which is their DOE budgets, to supplement, and that the principals are in the process of creating supplemental plans to make up for those CBO partnerships that were not funded for this year. So we're working on that front. We are opening a new school in the 25-26 school year. We are in the proposal phases right now, and we're reading the proposals. The submission process was opened. It is the Bishop Kearney site on 60th Street and Bay Parkway. That school construction was just, there's one of our pre-K centers is in a portion of the building, and the rest of the building was renovated to be a new District 21 middle school that is slated to open in 25. Yeah, so next September. So right now where we are at the timeline is, like I said, we're looking at proposals. We are specifically looking for technology-based AI innovative programs for all students. What I am the most excited about this is that the proposals that we received from the potential principals that want to open up this new school really blew us away. We're super excited to start to conduct the interviews, and it will be the first middle school in our district that will accept all students across the district into these specialized programs, not like the magnet programs that students have to apply to or zones programs. Any student in District 21 can apply to this new middle school of innovative technology. So that's pretty exciting.
Jeff Stanoff, you have a question?
Yes, very, very informative session tonight. I'd like to know whose responsibility it is to fund the Coney Island schools. Is it the elected officials? Is it people at the DOE? Where can we put the pressure on to get the funding that is required for our students?
So that's a good question. I mean, I guess it can come from the money from the elected officials that we get usually are earmarked for specific either specific after school programs or for specific initiatives like new science lab, upgrading technology, and things of that nature. What our Coney Island schools need is more than the per capita amount per student that we're getting from city, state, and local funding. They need special allocations to hire more AIS teachers, AIS academic intervention services. This is my opinion. Let's hope I still have a job tomorrow after giving my opinion. But they need bodies, right? Like I said, we have the best administrators in the spots right now. And that took us a while to get to, where we really had committed people who can do this work, committed staff members that believe that every single child can learn. They just need more money to provide, to hire more teachers. So I think it's central DOE. That's my best opinion, but I'm kind of, that's the best answer I have. I mean, I think they take all and any money that can result in being able to hire adults.
Thank you very much. I just want to ask one other thing, because you said the staffing is not what it should be in Coney Island schools. What if the DOE offered more money to staff? these teachers, you know, because,
I wish.
They used
you
to.
know,
They used to be
you know,
incentive
that's a,
programs.
you know, that's one thing. Increase their salaries to come to Coney Island and see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be
There
more.
used to be incentive programs for hard to staff districts in the past, 100%.
Yes.
I also think that in the beginning, we get teachers, but after, it's not in every single school, but I will say in totality, the turnover rate is higher because new teachers are excited and they want to work, and then they realize that they have to get off at Stillwell and figure out how to get down to 31st. And you know, and the buses, we have a few staff developers that don't drive, and the amount of time that they have to allot to take the train from Grady, from our district office, and then get across the length of Coney Island to some of the schools that are deep in is ridiculous. Like I think we need to improve public transportation on Coney Island. I also think we need to improve the parking situation on Coney Islands, you know.
Agree with that.
Yeah, and I think those things would also make it more enticing for staff to want to be there. They're paying people money to rent driveways and struggling to, you know, from paycheck to paycheck as a brand new teacher. They shouldn't have to do that.
Well, there should also be some type of way of having these teachers, you know, when they get off the train at Stillwell, to take an Uber or a private car service, and the DOE should pay for that.
I like you.
That happens at Goldstein.
Well, we have two more questions.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, can I go? Okay, yeah. All right, so I'm the new kid in the room. I have two questions. What is HMH? And the other thing regarding teacher staffing, what is the student ratio right now in the classes? Because that's a stress point for any teacher right now, and especially if we're overcrowded, and like you said, we have the micro students in the classes, you know, adding to that. What is the student ratio?
Yep. So HMH, first question, what is HMH, right? HMH is a company, it's a book company. They used to be Houghton, Mifflin, Harcourt, I think, back in the day. Now they're just HMH, and they are the makers of the curriculum, the program that we're using called Interreading. And so it's basically, it provides schools and teachers with all the resources they need to teach the literacy curriculum. What's the student teacher ratio? So right now, right, the student teacher ratio are the regular, sorry, I have Haley who wants to join. So the student teacher ratios right now are what the city allots them to be, right? In the middle schools, they're 30-1. In our kindergartners, they're 25-1. And
Could you start over again, because there was some background noise?
Yeah, I just gave her a cupcake and sent her off to her father. So our middle school, so the ratios right now, for the most part, are what the city ratios are. 30-1 in middle school, 32-1 in elementary, in 1 to 5, 25-1 in kindergarten, right? And 3K and 4K are different. However, we are in the process of aligning to the class size reduction that was imposed by the state. So right now, what we asked is all of our schools to have at least one class this year. And if schools had any last year that met the class size reduction, to keep the amount that they had previous and add one. So some schools just have one, depending on space. Some schools have 4 or 5. And that's reducing in the 1st to 5th grade, reducing it to 20-1, and in the middle schools, 23-1.
Ms. Moore? My question is, when my children were in school, they used to have something called parent advocacy, whereby other parents could speak up to another parent to say, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, this is how I feel. And that parent advocacy could advocate on that parent's behalf with the staff and the teachers, you know, so that they would feel more comfortable about opening up and not feel like because I opened up and I said something, my child is going to be targeted because, you know, I disagree with something that may be going on with the schools. Also, I noticed that, in some of the other districts, which was one of the districts that my son went to, they had an ELA class whereby the teacher spoke in the language that the kids, their natural language, as also in English. So this way they got a combination of both. They were taught in both languages so that, it made it easier for the teacher. Like the teacher was Chinese, they would have all Chinese students in her class. She would teach in Chinese as well as in English, which helped to bring up their reading scores and their grades and stuff. Is that not a program that maybe District 21 can put in effect, since we have a lot of migrants, that are coming into the new schools?
Yes. So to address both things, we do have, I would say that our CEC does an amazing job of being advocates for our parents. Okay, go tell daddy. You hear her? Mommy, I hear the ice cream truck. I want to kill the ice cream truck. It's 8:30. He's outside. So the CEC does an excellent job of being advocates for parents. I will also say that across our district, knowing that we represent over 56 different languages, each of our schools has an advocacy and translation plan so that there are people who are employed by our schools to help advocate and translate for parents in their home languages. And at the very least, at the district level, that exists as well. So that's the parent advocacy piece. As far as the bilingual programs and the dual language programs, we have robust bilingual and dual language programs across our district. We have Chinese Mandarin, we have Spanish, we have Russian that exist across the district in several of our schools. And we also, I know I spoke a little bit to what we were doing to support the multilingual learner population, the special education population, as far as the support we're giving to our 1211 and ICT teachers, but we are also giving a tremendous amount of support to our general education teachers who are teaching ENL students by supporting them. Daddy's taking you, go. By supporting them with something called translanguaging, which is what you just mentioned. So we are teaching our general education teachers who are teaching students who don't speak English how to leverage the use of how to leverage the use of their home language in their teaching to teach them how to read in English and how to comprehend English languages. And we also have taken every single unit in HMH and done things like text engineering to support both our IEP students and our multilingual learners. And those are things like adding graphics to the text, or adding captions, or background knowledge, front-loading vocabulary, so that those students have access points to the grade level text, knowing that IEP students might have individual learning needs and MLLs have language needs. So all those things have been taken into account and are things that we're working at across the district. Is every school, doing it to the best of their ability? It's a work in progress, and we're supporting all of our schools to get where they need to be. But it's definitely, resources that we've created, we have access to, and we're supporting our teachers in learning how to use them for the betterment of their students.
Okay, we want to say thank you so much to our deputy superintendent for giving us this great information. We're looking forward to the school year of 2024-2025 and what's to come. I just want to go back to Ms. Moore. You mentioned about the parent advocacy. So it is the Community Education Council. We meet once a month. Our next meeting is October 16th. I am the second vice chair on that board, as well as Eddie, as well as a board member. So we can send you the dates of where we meet, and times we meet. And you're more than welcome to attend in Zoom or in person.
Okay, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So again, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Sorry about the interruptions.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go into any old business. No old business? Okay. Any new business?
Just one quick question.
Yes.
Since we had this presentation now, these two presentations, do we have to adjust anything with our budget request or anything like that? Do we have to like tweak anything, tweak it? Or Cause Lucy did ask, she was alluding to that, cause I wanna make sure.
No, we put it in there. It's in
Put
there.
it- okay.
Yeah, it's in there.
All right, fine, as long as it's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the question.
So one thing I want to mention about the new business and all is welcome on October 29th, myself and Dr. April Leon from Liberation Diploma Plus High School will be hosting a Hispanic Heritage Youth Honoree Dinner. We will have many resources there. ACS will hopefully participate as well as some other resources. We will have dinner. And again, we will be honoring some youth, so we invite everyone to attend. This event is happening from 5 to 8 p.m. again at Liberation Diploma Plus High School, 2865 West 19th Street in Coney Island.
We have to pay to get in?
No, it's all free. The food is free, the resources is free.
Okay.
It's Love and Unity in Coney Island, all free.
What day is that?
That's Tuesday, October 29th.
October
29th. That's the like 12th anniversary.
Yes, it is.
That's 12th
Sandy.
anniversary of Sandy.
Yep, you know.
Thank you for sharing that.
I'll be
What
there
time
on
does it start?
So, 5 o'clock.
Fine.
Yes, so we'll
I
have
have
the
to.
flyer. I'll make sure I get it up.
Yes,
Yes.
oh no, it would be put on newsletter. That would definitely be put on newsletter. Yes.
Liberation High
I'm
School?
down to that.
Yes.
Community board, Ms. Davis has something to say.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not just for your, part of the education and stuff. A lot of things are going on in the community, but one thing that the community board and other organizations is not realizing, that the elections are going on at that same time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that would love to come and attend these things and support these things can't, because they're working at the polls. So I would appreciate it very much so, if, but we can't do it now because everything is already set up. But if they would take that in consideration, because we're gonna miss out on a lot, because we cannot be there at that time, because it's a time that the elections and stuff is going on, and it's very important to have people to work the election.
Okay, I'll definitely, thank you. Thank you.
Brother has a question.
Yes.
This statement, this is what Keisha wants to say about herself. Long before they had parent advocacy through the district, Lakeisha was and still is a parent advocate in this community. She was all over the schools, meeting with parents, meeting with the parents and the principal. So the fact that she's now in the CEC is just a culmination of what she's been doing for 20 years, 15 years. So you would say that yourself, so I said.
Thank you, thank you. So again, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. We're looking forward to more meetings, more collaboration. Everyone that's online, have a good night, and everyone that's here, get home safe.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you work as a parent advocate?